Most professionals I know have tried everything to stay calm under pressure. They've tried meditation, mindfulness apps, retreats, therapists, vacations, and they're still losing it in the job site. In this video, I am going to give you the 5 biggest mistakes that professionals are making, and they don't even know that they're making them. I'm also going to tell you about the most regulated person I've ever met in my life. And it wasn't a Navy SEAL, and it wasn't a monk, it was my mother. The first mistake that most people make is they're not aware that their emotions are running them. So the question is, are you running your emotions or are they running you? Because awareness is consciousness. And when you're aware of something, you can change it. But if you're not aware that your emotions are running you, you can't do anything about it. Your consciousness is a light. Just by being aware that your emotions are running you, it will make it better simply by being aware of it. The second mistake when it comes to emotional regulation is not understanding associative conditioning as it relates to emotional regulation. Pavlov rang the bell and fed the dog, rang the bell and fed the dog, rang the bell and fed the dog, rang the bell and the dog salivated because it associated the food with the bell. Most emotions are habits. And what we're doing is we're feeding a reoccurring pattern that gives us something. It's a compensatory behavior. Oftentimes, as a sales trainer, I tell people the biggest thing that stops you from selling is fear. But oftentimes, a salesperson will get angry. Oftentimes, when a person gets angry, it's because they're really afraid. So the anger is a compensatory behavior to put up a wall because in back of the anger is the fear. So sometimes we get triggered into anger, but what really happened is the fear. So when you understand that if you see this person and you get angry, if I see this person, I get angry. I see this person, I get angry. I see this person, I get angry. I think about this person, I get what? Angry, because I associate this person with anger. Grief is another one. If I'm going through a breakup and they leave me, every time I look at this, I'm going to think about them and I'm going to feel the grief. The little token that they give me, the little pocket watch that they give me. Oh, grief. I look at the clothing they left behind, grief. So sometimes we want to wash these triggers off. It's having the ability to desensitize ourselves to the trigger. It reminds me when I went through a breakup many years ago and I was feeling grief. I was an avid meditator, so I went into a meditation. And when I came out of the meditation, my brain was completely quiet, but I still felt grief in my bloodstream. Because what happens is the emotion is a word to describe a feeling, and a feeling is a hormonal stasis in the body. Even though my brain was quiet, I still had grief in my bloodstream. And what I was trying to do was to escape the grief. What you want to do is you want to feel it to get through it. The third mistake is that we don't understand that we're actually addicted to these disempowering survival emotions. There's a famous book called The Power of Habit, and they talk about the addiction of gambling. When a gambler goes into a gambling situation, they are going to get a hit regardless of the outcome. They're going to get a hit when they win, and they're going to get a hit when they lose. So the question I have for you is, which is the bigger hit? Is it when they win or is it when they lose? In other words, which one are they more addicted to? They're more addicted to when they lose. Now, consciously, they don't want to lose, but unconsciously they know they're going to get a big hit when they lose. Well, we can get addicted to anger. We can get addicted to anxiety. We can get addicted to pettiness, to jealousy, any disempowering emotion. Today, I haven't had my hit of anger today. I haven't had my hit of being a victim today. I haven't had my hit of melancholy today. So we get accustomed to these hormonal hits because they make us feel safe. Once again, they're a behavior that's compensating for something. So we're getting something out of the emotion, but then it becomes an emotional habit. So every day we look for a hit. So now we're going to look for a cue to justify the behavior. And if you're not aware of that, you cannot change it. We have been wired, and you want to learn how to rewire yourself to take yourself out of the stasis. The fourth mistake is avoiding the emotion, stuffing it. When I did the meditation, I was trying to escape the grief. What you have to do is you want to feel it. If you try and avoid it with alcohol, it's still in there. You try and avoid it with marijuana, it's still in there. You try and avoid it with Xanax, it's still in there. You try and avoid it by going to the gym, it's still in there. The quickest way through it is to feel it. Don't be afraid of it. It's a feeling. It's a hormone in your bloodstream. But when you feel it, what you're doing is you're accepting it. And acceptance is a form of love. When you love somebody, you accept them. When I feel the emotion, I accept it. When you accept it and you love it, it dissolves it. That's where the saying comes that love is the universal solvent. Love dissolves. So when you accept something, you're loving it. So simply, if I have anger, I just let myself feel it. Recently this year, my father transitioned. I was there helping him die. There's not a greater gift you can give your parents than helping them calmly, peacefully transition to the next plane. I wanted to be there for my dad's last breath. I wasn't lucky enough to be there with him for his last breath, but I was able to be present with him to the point where he looks me in the eyes and says, "Thank you. You've made this easier." And we were listening to this beautiful music by this guy named Tony O'Connor that my father loved from his past. And there's this song called "In Your Hands." So I'd be holding my dad's hands, listening to this beautiful music, and I thought, I am going to keep this song, this 8-minute track called "In Your Hands." So now I had to go back to my day job, being a corporate trainer, and I got the message that my dad had transitioned. I told my class that my father had transitioned, and this one guy walks up to me with tears in his eyes, and he says, "My condolences." And that human compassion was so sweet. And then I went to the car at lunchtime, and I sat in my car, I put on that song, "In Your Hands," and I just felt the grief. I let myself feel it. I didn't have to name it. I didn't make a story. I just let myself feel that feeling. And when you feel it, it moves through you. The word emotion means energy in motion. So if you want to get through the emotion, you need to feel it. Because if you don't feel it today, you're going to drag it into your tomorrow. Your anger today, you're going to carry into your tomorrow. Then you're going to pick up more anger and you're going to carry it, and we pile it on top of each other. Pretty soon we don't understand why we're so angry or so anxious, because we haven't learned how to let go of it. The way to let go of it, the way to move through it, is to feel it. About 15 years ago, I went skydiving, and I'd already been meditating for years. And when I went skydiving, I focused on my heart and I put a smile on my face, and I did this to stay present. Because fear is a future-based emotion. Fear is anticipation of pain. So I just smiled and I focused on my heart. I could just feel my heart and just smiled the entire way to the airport. Then when I'm standing there, I had a smile on my face and I was excited, and I stood strong, because when you stand strong, you feel strong, and smiled. When I went up in the air, smile, focus on my body. Whenever you're focused on your body, you're in the present moment. It grounds you. And what I learned that day is the power of staying present. Most human beings are not present. A moment ago in that story with my father, I was present. I'm present with the people I love. And when you're present and your hormones are happy, that is bliss, because you are completely content. So what you want to learn to do is stay in the present moment, because when you're in the present moment, you're not afraid. You're not feeling anxiety. You're not feeling the anger from a moment ago, and you're not in fear of the future. The present moment is an operational space for a diamond. In my book, Turning Snowflakes into Diamonds, Turning Pressure into Power, a snowflake melts under pressure, but a diamond is made by pressure. And this is what you want to be. A diamond is a metaphor for a transformation of self, so that we can become a highly regulated person, so that we can become a super conscious human being that is highly regulated. Because the fifth mistake that people make is they don't understand that every human being has a baseline. Everybody gets a number, a baseline vibe. Do you know anybody with good vibes? Of course you do. Do you know anybody with bad vibes? Of course you do. So everybody gets a number. The person with bad vibes gets a number, a 3. The person with good vibes gets a number, an 8. So you get a number, I get a number. Now, another word for a vibe is a frequency, like a radio frequency. So you have a baseline frequency, I have a baseline frequency. If you want evolution of self, you have to change your baseline. And the way to change your baseline is to drop the baggage. So some people have been angry for their whole life, So it feels safe, it feels normal. One of the human needs is we have a need for certainty because certainty means safety. So if I'm angry every day, that brings me certainty and it actually feels safe and I can become addicted to it. If I have anxiety every day, that can bring me certainty and that can make me feel safe. If I have jealousy every day, that can bring me certainty and that can make me safe. So if you're not aware that you have a baseline, you don't have the ability to change your baseline because awareness is the first key to change. So being aware that if you want true evolution of self, you have to change your baseline. Sometimes when a parent sees their child, they know that this is going to be the last time that they see them. I dropped my mother off at the airport and I watched her, and she looked like royalty. She looked so regal. She looked so calm, and I just knew that this was going to be the last time I saw her this way. And when she got back to Anchorage, Alaska, I found out that she had stage 4 cancer. I went up to help her die, and she was dead 5 weeks later. And when I watched her, she was so strong. She died with so much strength. I did not hear her complain. I did not hear her moan. She stood her ground. She gave her last moments to my sister to help my sister out. And that display of emotional regulation was outstanding. When I say how you do anything is how you do everything, unless you decide to change. If you can't keep your stuff together in a minor situation, you're not going to keep your stuff together in a major situation. Lose your shit in the minor, you're going to lose your shit in the major. But if you can stay calm in the minor, you're going to probably stay calm in the major. I believe every human being is going to get a defining moment in their life. And what's going to tell them how they do in that defining moment is every moment up to that moment. Every moment is practice for the next moment. And this is where emotional regulation comes in. Every time you get triggered, it's an opportunity to master it. Every trigger is an opportunity for you to understand yourself, understand your hormonal habits, understand the associative conditioning, understand how you're programmed to be conditioned to get angry when this happens because somebody broke my rules. Emotional regulation is the most important skill for the world today. When you can regulate yourself from the inside out as opposed to being regulated from the outside in, this is truly a superpower. If you like this content, please subscribe, because what we're doing here is we're taking pressure and we're turning it into power. I hope to see you soon.